Have you ever struggled to stay awake while driving at night? Have you ever caught yourself blinking a little longer than usual, wondering if another cup of coffee would really help? For thousands of years, travelers crossed deserts, mountains, and wilderness without caffeine or energy drinks. Yet they relied on simple gifts from God's creation to stay strong and alert. Today, modern science is discovering that some of those ancient biblical foods and plants may support energy, focus, and mental clarity in remarkable ways. Welcome to Eden Medicine, where timeless biblical wisdom meets modern scientific understanding. In today's video, you'll discover 5 Bible-inspired natural strategies that may help you stay more alert during long nighttime drives. From nourishing foods to refreshing herbs and simple habits that support both body and mind. One important reminder before we begin: nothing can replace adequate sleep. If you're truly exhausted, the safest choice is always to pull over and rest. Now, let's begin with one of the Bible's most fascinating stories: a weary warrior whose strength returned after tasting just a little wild honey. Secret 1. Wild honey, nature's instant energy. In 1 Samuel 14, King Saul's army had spent the entire day fighting the Philistines. The soldiers were exhausted, hungry, running on almost nothing, and their strength was fading with every step. Then something extraordinary happened. As Jonathan, Saul's son, walked through a forest, he discovered wild honey dripping from a honeycomb. The scripture tells us that he dipped the tip of his staff into the honey, tasted it, and his eyes brightened. At first glance, this may sound like poetic language, but modern nutrition offers a fascinating explanation. Your brain consumes an enormous amount of energy, especially during activities that demand constant concentration, such as driving at night. As blood sugar begins to drop, mental sharpness often declines, reaction time slows, attention wanders, fatigue quietly begins to take over. Raw honey provides naturally occurring glucose and fructose, 2 simple sugars that are absorbed quickly by the body. Glucose offers an immediate source of fuel for the brain, while fructose is released more gradually, helping sustain energy a little longer. Unlike many commercial energy drinks loaded with artificial stimulants and excessive caffeine, honey delivers nourishment rather than forcing the nervous system into overdrive. Some studies also suggest that honey contains antioxidants and plant compounds that may help reduce oxidative stress, supporting overall brain health. If you regularly drive long distances, consider keeping a small container of pure raw honey in your vehicle. When you begin to notice the first signs of mental fatigue, not severe exhaustion, but that early feeling of fading focus, a teaspoon of honey may provide gentle, natural support for your energy. Of course, it is not a miracle cure. It cannot replace sleep or eliminate dangerous fatigue. But perhaps Jonathan's experience reminds us of something deeper. Sometimes, the simplest gifts from God's creation can provide exactly the strength we need for the next mile of the journey. And if honey offers a quick burst of energy, what about maintaining steady focus for the next 4 or 5 hours? For that, we turn to another remarkable passage of Scripture involving 2 humble dried fruits that restored a dying traveler's strength. Secret 2. Raisins and figs. The fuel that lasts. Today, nutrition experts recognize raisins and dried figs as naturally concentrated sources of carbohydrates, fiber, potassium, magnesium, and a variety of plant antioxidants. Unlike sugary snacks that cause a rapid spike in blood sugar, followed by an equally rapid crash, the natural sugars in dried fruit are absorbed more gradually, especially when combined with their fiber. That means a steadier release of energy, something every long-distance driver can appreciate. Potassium also plays a valuable role in supporting healthy muscle function. During hours behind the wheel, your legs, shoulders, and back remain under constant tension. Maintaining healthy electrolyte balance may help reduce muscle fatigue and occasional cramping. Many experienced drivers discover that eating a small handful of raisins or a couple of dried figs every few hours provides more consistent energy than relying on candy bars or highly processed snacks. Even more importantly, these foods nourish the body instead of simply masking exhaustion. There is also a spiritual lesson hidden within this passage. David's men didn't revive the traveler with expensive medicine or complicated remedies. They simply shared wholesome food provided by God's creation. Sometimes, wisdom is wonderfully uncomplicated. A small bag of raisins and dried figs tucked into your vehicle may seem insignificant. Yet, on a long night when your body begins asking for strength, those simple fruits can become faithful companions for the road ahead. But staying awake isn't only about what we eat. Our Creator also designed another powerful pathway directly to the brain, one that begins with every single breath we take. In the next biblical secret, we'll discover how ancient aromatic plants like cinnamon and frankincense may help awaken the senses naturally. Secret 3: Cinnamon and frankincense, awakening the mind through fragrance. The third biblical secret doesn't begin with something you eat. It begins with something you breathe. Throughout Scripture, aromatic plants were treasured as gifts of extraordinary value. In Song of Solomon 4:14, cinnamon, frankincense, myrrh, and other fragrant spices are celebrated among the most precious plants of the ancient world. While they were often associated with worship, hospitality, and healing, modern science is revealing another fascinating possibility. Certain natural aromas appear to influence the brain almost immediately. Unlike food, which must travel through the digestive system before nutrients reach the bloodstream, scent takes a remarkably direct route. The moment you inhale a fragrance, odor molecules stimulate receptors inside the nose that send signals to the limbic system, the part of the brain closely connected with memory, attention, emotion, and alertness. Researchers have explored the effects of cinnamon aroma on cognitive performance and found that it may support attention, working memory, and mental processing during demanding tasks. While more research is still needed, the findings are encouraging. Frankincense has also attracted scientific interest. Laboratory studies suggest that some of its natural compounds may promote a sense of calm while helping reduce mental tension. For anyone spending long hours behind the wheel, staying relaxed can be just as important as staying awake. Stress, frustration, and anxiety consume mental energy. A calmer mind often makes better decisions. Some drivers choose to place a small diffuser in their vehicle with a few drops of pure cinnamon or frankincense essential oil. Others simply carry a cotton pad, lightly scented with these oils, using it only when they begin feeling mentally sluggish. The goal isn't to overwhelm the senses with a powerful fragrance. Instead, it's to create a gentle reminder that encourages the brain to remain engaged and present. It's remarkable to think that plants honored in the pages of Scripture thousands of years ago are still offering practical benefits today. Yet even fragrance has its limits. Sometimes the fastest way to interrupt drowsiness isn't through taste or smell, but through an intense sensation of coolness that instantly captures the brain's attention. That brings us to another humble biblical plant that many people already have in their kitchen: mint. Secret 4: Mint, a refreshing wake-up call. Our fourth biblical secret comes from one of the simplest herbs mentioned in the New Testament. In Matthew 23:23, Jesus refers to mint, along with dill and cumin, as herbs so valuable that people carefully measured them when giving their tithes. To many of us, mint is simply a pleasant flavor in tea, toothpaste, or chewing gum. But God designed this humble plant with remarkable properties that modern science continues to explore. The refreshing sensation of mint comes from a natural compound called menthol. Interestingly, menthol doesn't actually lower the temperature of your skin. Instead, it activates special cold-sensitive receptors that send powerful signals to the brain, creating an immediate feeling of coolness and alertness. This sensory response can temporarily interrupt the sluggish feeling that often develops during long nighttime drives. That's one reason mint is commonly found in products designed to help people feel refreshed and focused. For drivers, there are several simple ways to use it. Some keep a small bottle of diluted peppermint essential oil in the vehicle and apply a tiny amount to the wrists or the back of the neck before beginning a long trip. Others prefer peppermint tea during rest stops, while many simply chew sugar-free peppermint gum. The act of chewing itself has been associated with increased alertness in some studies, and the refreshing flavor of peppermint may further enhance that effect. However, it's important to remember that peppermint oil is highly concentrated. It should always be diluted according to the manufacturer's directions and never applied near the eyes or used excessively. What makes mint especially remarkable is its simplicity. It's inexpensive, widely available, and has been appreciated for thousands of years. Sometimes the creator's most effective gifts are also the most humble. Yet there is one final biblical principle that many drivers overlook completely. It costs almost nothing, requires no preparation, and may have a greater impact on mental performance than any herb or natural food we've discussed so far. That final gift is something your body cannot live without: water. Secret 5. Pure water, the forgotten source of alertness. The final biblical secret is also the simplest. It doesn't come from an exotic herb or a rare fruit. It comes from water. Throughout the Bible, water is more than a necessity. It is a symbol of life, renewal, and God's faithful provision. From the water flowing out of the rock in the wilderness to Jesus' invitation to receive the living water, Scripture continually reminds us that life depends upon proper nourishment and refreshment. Modern science echoes that timeless truth. Even mild dehydration can affect the brain. Studies have shown that losing as little as 2% of your body's water may reduce attention, slow reaction time, and increase the feeling of fatigue. For someone driving a heavy truck or traveling hundreds of miles at night, those small changes can become significant. The challenge is that dehydration often develops quietly. Inside an air-conditioned vehicle, you may not notice how much moisture your body is losing. By the time you feel thirsty, your concentration may already be declining. Instead of waiting until thirst appears, many health professionals recommend sipping small amounts of water regularly throughout a long journey. A few mouthfuls every 20 or 30 minutes can help maintain hydration more effectively than drinking a large bottle all at once. If you stop for a break, take a few minutes to step outside. Stretch your legs, breathe fresh air, splash cool water on your face and the back of your neck. These simple actions stimulate the senses, improve circulation, and remind your body that it's time to stay engaged. Sometimes, the safest solution isn't another drink or another snack. It's simply pulling over for a short walk and allowing your mind to reset. After all, staying awake isn't about fighting your body. It's about working with the way God designed it. As we come to the end of today's journey, one message stands above all the rest. God's creation is filled with simple gifts that can support our health when we use them wisely. A spoonful of raw honey, a handful of raisins and dried figs, the comforting aroma of cinnamon and frankincense, the refreshing coolness of mint, and the life-giving power of pure water. These natural resources have served travelers for generations, and many continue to find value in them today. But let us remember one final truth. No natural remedy can replace the restorative gift of sleep. If your eyes can no longer stay open, if your reactions are slowing, or if you find yourself drifting between lanes, the wisest decision is not to keep driving. Pull over somewhere safe. Rest. Your destination can wait. The people who love you cannot replace you. If you enjoyed exploring these timeless biblical health principles with us, we'd be honored if you subscribed to Eden Medicine and joined us for future journeys into the wisdom of Scripture and the remarkable discoveries of modern science. Until next time, may God watch over your travels, strengthen your body, and guide every mile safely home.